Yeah. We right live. We getting in. This is here. A new time. Doing that on the wrong show. This show isn't about rhyming. It's about wrestling. And it is called Tough Talks with Tilly and the Block. Tilly unfortunately could not make this episode. However, I'm sure he's with us in spirit. It's Easter weekend. He's handling some personal matters. As we show you what you need to know from this past week of Raw and SmackDown, yo. We get live, like the Terrell Effect, which you can hear before this starting at 12 p.m. So the Terrell Effect is live on Saturdays, starting at 12 p.m. You can hear us live on Saturdays, starting at 12 p.m. And this show starts at 3:30. This is called Tough Talks with Tilly and the Block. What's the Block that's about to talk? So we gonna get into the rundown of what happened on Raw, because even though I didn't quite see it, WWE has me a rundown on the app of Raw News. So that's what I'm gonna be referring to. Alright. Well, The Miz returns and annihilates Raw. Annihilates Shane on the Superstar Shake-Up opening. Where Shane McMahon goes and Miz follows. Indeed, the first move from SmackDown Live wasn't a single superstar as much as an entire rivalry. The A-lister emerged to confront his nemesis while Shane was gloating over his protracted abuse of the former WWE Champion's father over the past 2 months. Though perhaps emerge is too soft a word, Miz preempted Stephanie McMahon's planned announcement with the first Superstar Shake-Up change and ambushed Shane from behind, brutalizing him with a steel chair and chasing him from the ring. It was an impressive opening salvo to the most chaotic two-night stretch of the WWE's calendar. But the implication of Miz's attack might stretch far beyond that. If, as Stephanie McMahon said, the Superstar Shake-Up is the first step on the road to next year's WrestleMania, the A-lister seems dead set on making sure Shane's path to the showcase of the Immortals is as long and painful as it gets. Now, I'm iffy on this rivalry here because I do like the fact that it is a heated rivalry and they are trying to make Miz look like a larger-than-life character. I don't know if it's from, if it's the acting portion of it that they're doing, but, I mean, that suplex, that superplex, that hyperplex off of that scaffold, I mean, kudos to both, but fast shouts to Miz for, stepping up his game and going the extra mile. The Viking Experience stormed through the competition in Raw debut. The Superstar Shake-Up is notable for moves between Raw and SmackDown Live, but don't forget that some NXT superstars make the leap every once in a while as well. I just struggled, ladies and gentlemen, to get that. That's why I'm glad when we have Tilly here, because he can just spit this off the top. Either way, Raw seems to have gotten a good haul from Full Sail as the Viking Experience, the reigning NXT Tag Team Champions on the Black and Gold brand, teamed up with the Revival to handily knock off previous NXT signees Aleister Black and Ricochet. The Raw Tag Team Champions, Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins, in an 8-man tag team match. The newcomers' impact was immediate. Their unorthodox offense, it wasn't uncommon to see one body slamming the other on top of a down opponent. Impossible to counteract. Their instincts were right on point too, as Eric and Ivar isolated Hawkins, perhaps in the hopes that he might be easier to defeat of his losing streak. Ironically, it wasn't Hawkins who found himself standing alone, but Ryder, who bailed his friend out and was the last man standing at the end of a wild brawl, whereupon the Viking Experience closed in on the Ultimate Broski and flattened him with the fallout for the victory. It's anybody's guess as to what the Raw Tag Team title picture will look like at the end of the next 2 days, but it's fair guess that these two will be front and center. Good luck to anyone who tries to prove otherwise. Now, they're called the Viking Experience now. What were they called before? Oh, jeez. The War Raiders, yes. Now, there's a lot of controversy over the name change. Why did they change from the War Raiders to the Viking Experience? Who knows? Maybe they could eventually pair up with Brock. He goes for that Viking thing, doesn't he? Daniel Bryan does the Viking thing. Maybe that's what's going on. I don't know. It could have just been PR. Either way, Andrade topples Finn Balor in Raw debut. By his own admission, Finn Balor's first reign as Intercontinental Champion was much shorter than he would have liked it to be. And he said it's looking like his second is going to be much, much more interesting. 1 week after barely returning Sami Zayn in a championship bout, the Irishman suffered a non-title loss to Andrade in the latter's Raw debut following the Superstar shakeup and brand jump. Listen, man, it's been a long week. I've had to do a lot of talking, so if I slip up, it's probably because I'm reading too fast and I'm drinking this espresso. The match was a coming out party for Andrade, who turned heads on Team Blue with several instant classics against Rey Mysterio, though he had trouble breaking out beyond that remarkable rivalry. Here, he broke out over the course of one match, and Balor, who tweaked his knee in the bout, struggled to keep up. He had no answer for the interference of Andrade's business partner and human insurance policy, Zelina Vega, who keyed Andre's victory. La Muñeca shielded her associate with multiple occasions to give him some breathing room and even sent Balor flying with the Hurricane Rana from the ring apron that left him helpless against the Hammerlock DDT, which spelled the end of a blockbuster debut that was either a showcase or a reality check, depending on whom you ask. I don't I guess I don't really like these two, but the way I don't like them is because of how good they are playing heels. You know what I mean? It's like they play believable characters. So I guess, you know what I mean, as much as I don't like them, they're doing their job well because they're heels. It is what it is. Finn Balor will probably come through with a victory. This as a rivalry, I think it'll be interesting, but does the demon come back out again? Is the question. Rey Mysterio runs afoul of Lars Sullivan in Raw return. It was one step forward, one step back. It was a one step forward, one step back night for Elias. During the Superstar shakeup, on one hand, The Undertaker didn't come out to destroy him, which is a positive development for the embattled Balladeer. On the other, the Living Truth got interrupted and beaten up again, this time by a shaken up Rey Mysterio. That said, at least the Living Truth can say he didn't suffer the fate that befell Mysterio following their fight. Let me just check that out here. I heard of Blue Looks. Alright, I'll check that later. The Master of the 619 begun to bask in his Raw return when Lars Sullivan came calling, confronting the Luchador in the latest vulgar display of power. Mysterio kept the Freak guessing by flitting around him during the impromptu fight, but he inadvertently sprinted headlong into the Freak accident and didn't flit anymore after that. Sullivan followed up with a running gut-wrench sit-out powerbomb that was one part punishment for the defiant Mysterio and one part message to the locker room. The only way it gets worse for you when Lars Sullivan shows up is if you try to fight back. Yikes. Okay. The Usos return to Raw with raucous victory over Roode and Gable. In case may have missed it last week, Bobby Roode and Chad Gable have embraced the new chaos, thrown sportsmanship to the winds, and adopted a new, markedly meaner attitude. Nastiness certainly looked good on them, even in defeat, but as they learned on Raw, they have new ways to go to catch up with the inventors of the form. Following the open challenge of sorts, the Usos, who hit this stride after finding their own mean streak a few years ago, came over from SmackDown Live and humbled the former Raw Tag Team Champions in a nasty little match that showcased Jimmy and Jay's sharp in-ring chops and how very, very crowded the Raw Tag Team division is becoming. The Usos seemed to think this was going to be a cakewalk, and the Glorious Duo quickly convinced them otherwise, with Gable proving to be a pit bull on the mat. When the tide turned, it turns quickly. The Usos pounced with a series of super kicks, one to Gable, one to Rude, and then two more to Gable, before finishing the Minnesota stretcher off with a double Uce. Rude and Gable still looked great, but this was the Usos' stark reminder to a Raw roster that they might have forgotten. When it comes to all things bad, they bad attitude or bad men, the line forms behind them. All right, so that was a little butchered myself. I'll admit it, but you know what? The Usos. Fat shouts to the Usos and they daddy. You know why I shout out the Usos every time? Not only because they are one of the illest tag teams up there with the New Day. They daddy signed my title which I made several years ago, and actually met Rikishi in 2013, was it? Yeah, 2013 on my wedding anniversary, oddly enough. So that's how the WWE universe works. But either way, you know what I mean? Fat shouts to the Usos for doing their thing. All right. Sami Zayn runs down the Montreal crowd on a moment of bliss. With the possibility of a SmackDown Live shakeup looming, Alexa Bliss played to the Montreal crowd by bringing out a hometown hero, Sami Zayn, for what may end up being the final moment of bliss on Raw. Unfortunately, Zayn didn't have much use for the denizens of his hometown, denouncing them as false fans as he could play like a fiddle. As if to prove his point, he danced through the two encores of his theme song, spoke in French, and broke out the old ole, 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 ole chants to provoke some easy cheers, who were more interested in playing critic than kingmaker than actually fixing what's wrong with themselves. In a sharp rejoinder, Alexa countered that perhaps Sami himself was the problem. Zayn disagreed. The fans disagreed with him. And same as last week, he got the last word before departing into the greener pastures of Orlando, Florida, with a blunt, "See you in hell." So it wasn't much of an interview, but if Alexa heads to SmackDown Live, she can't say she didn't go out with exactly what her show promised. A moment. And at a moment of bliss, I think it's just, because she's hurt. They're trying to keep her in the scene. Haven't really been seeing her wrestle that much over the last couple of months. So this moment of bliss is a way of keeping her relevant. Maybe we could get a Lacey Evans on, see what her deal is, why she's just strutting the lane. Maybe we could get Lars Sullivan on there, just to see if he can be contained. I don't know. Either way. Naomi teams with Bayley in Sasha Banks' absence against the Iconics. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to mention Sasha Banks' absence. It could have just been Naomi teams with Bayley, but I hear where you come from. You got to call a girl out, right? Not necessarily, but you did anyways. Losing the WWE Women's Tag Team titles to the Iconics was a blow to Bayley and Sasha Banks. But the Huggable One has taken her first step towards potentially regaining the gold. It just wasn't with the boss, who apparently isn't returning her partner's calls. Instead, the Huggable One recruited a shaken-up Naomi to her side for a non-title tag bout after a tense backstage confrontation with the champs. And pairing immediately paid dividends as Naomi delivered the victory via split-legged moonsault. Jeez, that's such a crazy move. Of course, the WWE Universe could only get so far ahead of itself. The chemistry Banks and Bayley forged through the years of adversity can't be so easily replicated, and the road to tag team gold is a long and rocky one. With that said, the Hug and Glow connection does have a nice ring to it, doesn't it? Okay, yeah, man. Gotta shout out Zone. You know what I mean? Blessing up the man. With a message here. I mean, shout out The Stick, shout out Choom Gang, shout out Nippy North, shout out Private Name, you know what I mean? Because these are all people to look up when you're done listening to this, if you're interested in music as well. So, yeah. We're gonna get to the next one. Braun Strowman chokeslams EC3 through Raw stage in what was either a grand farewell or a dire warning of hands yet to be given. Braun Strowman celebrated the superstar shakeup in savage fashion by dismantling NXT acquisition EC3 on Raw in a protracted meeting before their match could begin. This is not exactly as much of a given as it may seem, as the top 1% is called that for a reason. But Strowman is simply on a roll these days, and there was nothing EC3 looking top notch, victory after victory after victory, could do to stop himself from being beaten up on the ramp and chokeslammed through the stage. Of course, this may have been something part of the shot out of the door for the Monster Among Men, who has been a Raw fixture since 2016, the 2016 Burning section, and found himself shuttled off to SmackDown tomorrow. If he is, Raw will certainly miss him. But at the very least, if EC3 stays on Team Red, he won't have to worry about it anymore. That in itself is a victory. Yo, all I have to say is Braun! The man's a monster. Like, he can do whatever he wants. He reminds me of when the Big Show first came in and he was just handling people, except he's just more powerful, I'd say, almost. Like, you saw what he did to Show. It was crazy. Madness, I'm telling you, madness. Natalya and Lacey Evans challenged Becky Lynch to a title match. Becky 2 belts, Becky 2 belts, Becky 2 belts. Becky Lynch winning 2 women's championships at once is all well and good, but as long as she's Becky 2 belts, she might as well be Becky 2 challengers as well. The Irish last kicker found herself faced with not one, but 2 potential challengers that immediately hit the scene after Lynch dispatched Ruby Riott, snatching her hair in the process. Natalya was the first superstar to prevent herself as a contender for the Raw half of Lynch's twofer, and the Irish last kicker was more than happy to grant the opportunity to a fellow underappreciated, overlooked superstar. But not so fast. Lacey Evans, who said Lynch was out, who laid Lynch out with cheap shots all across last week's shows, emerged in full gear to announce she'd curried favor with the McMahons to sanction a match with Natalya, where the winner would get the first crack at the Raw Women's title. Lacey Evans, I mentioned her earlier, and she's got something. Y'all about to see something that you would not believe, like women's empowerment. Like, this is how she's about to show you how you can be a good woman and a bad bitch all at the same time. Am I wrong? Okay. Anyways, Lacey Evans punches her way to a women's title opportunity. After weeks of simply announcing her presence and leaving, Lacey Evans has made an impact with a very short period of time. Just 1 week after decking Becky Lynch with the women's right on 2 consecutive nights, the lady of WWE used that very same right hand to earn the Raw Women's title match against the Irish last kicker, on her very first night as a Raw superstar, no less. The unlucky recipient of said knuckle sandwich, Natalya, who was battling Evans for the right to challenge Becky 2 belts per her edict with the McMahon family, found herself somewhat overwhelmed, or at least surprised by the new arrival. Natalya still managed to muscle her way to the sharpshooter, but the former Marine still caught the Queen of Hearts with the right hand, following up seconds later with a standing switch moonsault for the victory. Impressive, to say the least. Like I said, man, don't play around with this chick. She's about to blow your mind. Okay, remember you heard it here on Tough Talks with Tilly and the Block. AJ Styles arrives on Raw as Rollins and Reigns' mystery partner. Mystery, you could have said the same thing. Either way, throw me a bone, okay? Alright. Even by the chaotic standards of the Superstar Shake-Up arrival on Raw, was something of a stunner. AJ Styles' arrival on Raw was something of a stunner. After all, SmackDown Live is a house that AJ Styles built. Even if you don't buy the hype, the blue brand unquestionably is where the Phenomenal One built his WWE legend. But here he was, flying at the flank of the Universal Champion Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns as their mystery partner against Drew McIntyre, Baron Corbin, and Bobby Lashley, outfoxing anyone and everyone down the stretch to such a degree that it took illicit Claymore from McIntyre to slow him down. The interference kicked off the frantic scramble and in the match's waning moments, but Rollins and Reigns were right there to bail Styles out after he was leveled by Lashley. The Universal Champion stomped the Almighty as he was attempted the pinfall. Reigns followed up with a bone-rattling spear, and Styles finished things off with a swooping phenomenal forearm to pin Lashley. Take nothing away from Lashley, who required 3 signature maneuvers to be defeated. But the first night of the Superstar Shakeup was unquestionably the AJ Styles show in its waning moments. All that's left to see is how things shake out tomorrow. And we are about to give you the SmackDown highlights. I mean, the way that is, Raw's was looking like it was a pretty good show. You know what I mean? It had quite a few people on there, you know what I mean, that changed brands. And it held its own, really. I have a hard time making it to the third hour, but I have no problem reading back or watching back on what happens. You know what I mean? It is what it is. So we're going to go to SmackDown. This is going to be a short show because it's just me, you know. Ain't got my podcast bro here. But it's all good. All right. The New Day anointed a new honorary group member on the Kevin Owens show. Montreal. In his backyard of Montreal, Kevin Owens kicked off SmackDown Live's portion of the Superstar Shakeup by hosting the Kevin Owens show with his guest, WWE Champion Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods of the New Day. I had to say it so positively because they have the power of positivity. You feel me? Either way. KO spoke passionately in front of his country people, speaking in the native tongue of French Canadian, to say that tonight it was his WrestleMania before welcoming Kingston and Woods. Big E is recovering from injuries sustained last week. Owens incredibly congratulatory of all Kingston had accomplished in his final months, leading on to a massive ovation from the WWE Universe in Montreal's Bell Center. Following Woods having a mini panic attack over the Superstar Shakeup, really cutting up his up, down roster, Owens tossed around the idea that the Big O could be the newest honorary member of the New Day. Owens proved that he had hip techniques to join the ranks, and the WWE Universe fully support of Big O was bestowed with a New Day crop top and unicorn bandana, confirming his status of newest member of the New Day. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I missed that. That's jokes. This is being brought to you courtesy of SmackDown News on the WWE app, where you can find WWE information, or you can just come to here. Tough Talks with Tilly and the Black. All right. Watching on were Rusev and Nakamura, who are scheduled to have a tag team match against Kingston and Woods tonight. However, seeing the jovialness in discuss was Cesaro, who suggested that tonight's bout be a 6-man tag match. New alignment for the New Day and seemingly new challenges too. Finn Balor defeats Mustafa Ali. SmackDown Live's first acquisition of the Superstar Shakeup was Intercontinental Champion Finn Balor, and he wasted no time getting right into the mix of the blue brand by facing off against Ali in a non-title match. The two superstars pushed the pace from jump, keeping the WWE Universe on their toes with an incredible array of offense. In the clutch, Ali appeared to have the extraordinary man reeling when he connected with a dazzling top rope Hurricane Rana, but Balor dodged Ali's 054, nailed the running dropkick, clinched the win with a coup de grace. Finn and Ali shook hands after the bout to display mutual respect. What's next for Finn after bringing the Intercontinental Championship to the blue brand? Who knows? I'm taking a drink of my coffee. I'm not leaving dead air. I'm just showing you that I am still fully prepared. Speaking of prepared, let's talk about Charlotte Flair. She defeated Carmella and Lars Sullivan attacked R-Truth there. In her first appearance since WrestleMania, Charlotte Flair returned to SmackDown Live to face off against this year's WrestleMania Women's Battle Royal winner, Carmella. The Queen, supremely confident in her early goings, but she was quickly reminded of Carmella's past success against her when Princess Mella dropped her with 2 pinpoint kicks to the jaw. The Princess of Staten Island took Flair to her limits with an array of hard-hitting strikes. However, Charlotte regained control and trapped her opponent in a figure eight for an emphatic submission victory. How? R-Truth tended to Carmella after the contest, but Lars Sullivan soon hit the scene and stalked to the ring. Likely sensing that Lars was here for a fight, Truth got in the face of the Freak, and the two superstars began trading haymakers. The monstrous Sullivan got the upper hand and dropped Truth with a ring-rattling Freak accident. In a frightening moment, Sullivan turned his attention to the downed Carmella, but Princess Carmella simply slowly slipped out the squared circle, and unscathed as Sullivan once again leveled Truth with a running sit-out powerbomb, undoubtedly putting his fellow superstars on notice. I don't know, man. This Lars Sullivan dude, I've seen him I think he was there at the WWE event or the NXT event that I went to a couple years back in St. Catharines at the Meridian Center. Man is a freak of nature, bro. He's just size and strength and power and force. I wouldn't want to be on the wrong side of him. Put him up with Walter and see who gives the hardest chops. Yeah. Paige revealed SmackDown Live's newest tag team. Raw and SmackDown Women's Champion Becky Lynch hit the scene on SmackDown Live. Before she could get too deep into her sentiments about wanting to slap heads on both brands, SmackDown Live's newest superstars Ember Moon and Bayley interrupted clear intentions to take the title off Becky's shoulders. The Women's Tag Team Champions, the Iconics, then interrupted with reminders for Bayley and Ember. Despite their intentions, they currently had no titles. Paige hit the scene to announce SmackDown Live's newest tag team, but before she could, Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville interrupted and suggested that Absolution was reforming. Instead, Paige revealed her new team would consist of Asuka and NXT sensation Kairi Sane. The two wasted no time making an impact, rushing the ring alongside Ember Moon and Bayley, clearing the squared circle of Mandy, Sonya, and the Iconics. Welcome to the future. I'm just practicing my voices, ladies and gentlemen. Rock with it. Just rock with it. You know what I mean? Like, the way they entertain in the ring with the announcements and stuff. You can't hate on a brother because I'm doing my thing. I'm doing my thing now. You know I'm doing my thing. All right, cool. Kairi Sane, Asuka, Ember Moon, and Bayley defeat the Iconics, Mandy Rose, and Sonya Deville. It's just gruff. Let's take it how you get it. In lieu of the massive brawl from moments prior, Asuka and Kairi Sane teamed with Bayley and Ember Moon to square off against the Iconics and Fire and Desire on SmackDown Live. Asuka and Kairi showed off instant chemistry, stringing together impressive double-team offense that had their opposition reeling. Bayley and Ember chipped in with some high-risk offense that put the squad firmly in control. The Iconics, Mandy and Sonya, would not go quietly, but after a furious sequence, Asuka downed Royce with a reverse DDT, setting up Kairi to connect with the breathtaking, insane elbow for the victory, which was iconic. I love it. I love the way SmackDown Live is using their women right now. They are just showcasing how wonderful they can be. You know what I mean? And they got a wide array of them. They got, you know what I mean? They got the Mean Girls in the Iconics. You know what I mean? The Fire and Desire, who's like the bullies. Then you got Ember and Bayley, who's like the good girls. And then you got Kairi and Asuka, who's like, you know what I mean? I don't want to say the foreigners, but like the newcomers. You know what I mean? Like, well played, SmackDown, well played. Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods, and Kevin Owens, the New Day, defeat Cesaro, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Rusev. After WWE Champion Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods gave Kevin Owens, Big O, a crash course on how to properly introduce the New Day out to the ring, the newly configured group took on the imposing crew of Cesaro, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Rusev on SmackDown Live. The New Day wasted no time in initiating the Big O by having him join and on their patented Unicorn Stampede, which was followed by Owens' signature Cannonball Splash into the corner. It wasn't all smooth sailing for the New Day, though, as Cesaro, Nakamura, and Rusev isolated Woods. Woods battled back, allowing Kingston and Owens to get into the action. The WWE Champion and Big O worked in tandem, allowing the New Day to score the victory when the Dreadlock Dynamo connected with the Trouble in Paradise, and Owens hit the stunner for a positively awesome victory. Yo, I don't know where to go with this right now. I like the Canadian connection between the New Day and, you know what I mean, the New Day and Kevin Owens. Like, that's what's up. I'm really feeling it. Shout outs to Kofi Kingston for holding down the title. You know what I mean? I want to big up the man who doesn't want to be mentioned for allowing the title, or for you know what I mean, designating the title, or whatever, what have you. It's gonna be a serious run. I think it should be a serious run. All right, Mr. McMahon revealed the biggest acquisition of SmackDown history. Mr. McMahon promised the biggest acquisition of SmackDown Live history, and the chairman delivered. Ladies and gentlemen, Elias. Elias promised that the Blue Brand would become the Temple of Elias as he prepared to deliver his first performance on SmackDown Live. But before he could get in a few chords, Roman Reigns arrived, dropped Elias with a Superman punch, dropped McMahon with a Superman punch, and then declared that SmackDown Live wasn't the Temple of Elias, but the New Yard. Roman put the exclamation point on the Blue Brand by spearing Elias, leaving everyone laying and making a major statement. The big dog had arrived on SmackDown Live, and it was never going to be the same again. Talk about leaving a mark, or making a mark, leaving your imprint. That is your SmackDown snapshot. That followed your Raw recap. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been my pleasure bringing to you this information courtesy of the WWE app, as well as Raw News and SmackDown Live News. This is The Block, and I'll give you my rundown on how I think it went. Raw was a good event. Raw was a good one. You know what I mean? It was interesting. 3 hours long. It's still something to get used to. I mean, the shake-up, it played out well. I think there's a few high points, you know what I mean? Like, but again, it's just, I don't know. It's just something that SmackDown does. I don't know if it's because they condense all of that activity into a shorter period of time, or if it's because they're using the women better, or if it's just the storylines. I don't know. I got to get into who writes for Raw and who writes for SmackDown and get to the bottom of this, because there's more to this that I think is going to happen. Like, Taker's back, and he's not playing around with nobody. You know what I mean? He's gonna throw some hands. Question is, with who? We are, I think, like 3 weeks out from the next pay-per-view, and that's gonna be Money in the Bank. No, we are 5 weeks out from the next pay-per-view. Money in the Bank, yeah. That's going to be an interesting development. Oh, for those of you who are interested, we are also doing a performance. We have the Encore the Detour featuring Choom Gang, yours truly, The Block, as well as Private Name, Private Number, Chronic Spirit, MBM Illinois, Toby G, Lil Nucci, Ali Mack, G Knowledge, and DJ D-Boy. Tickets are $5 in advance, $10 at the door, $10 with a CD. Holla if you want some more. It's just me, D-A-B-L-O-C-K, on the shore. Tough Talks with Teely and The Block. We pretty much done for sure. We got that SmackDown Live and the Raw in. When my co-host returns, we will have some more details on more wrestling brands like New Japan Pro Wrestling, as well as AEW. What else? Nothing much. So, if you want to talk more wrestling, feel free to message me. in the chat, or hit me up at The Block Online on Twitter, or at The Block Online on Instagram. This has been Tough Talks with Tilly and The Block. Bless up. Block out.